They laughed at you. They mocked your struggle. They whispered when you fell, and they clapped when you cried. But hear this. Heaven was listening. The same voices that laughed will be silenced, and the same stage where you were shamed will become the platform of your vindication. Chosen one, you did not stumble here by chance. The wind of destiny carried you to this very moment. Even now, your spirit is trembling because deep inside you know. This word was written for you. All the nights you felt unseen, all the seasons where your prayers seemed unanswered, all the times they said you were nothing, too broken, too strange, too weak. Every scar, every tear, every silence, it was never wasted. Like Joseph thrown into the pit, like David mocked before Goliath, like Jesus ridiculed before the cross. If your spirit knows this word is yours, act in faith. Like this message now, subscribe, so your soul stays connected to this river of revelation, and write in the comments, I'm chosen, not as routine, but as a declaration, as a sign to heaven that you are ready to receive what has been hidden for you. The laughter of men is about to meet the fire of God, and this fire will not consume you, it will crown you. They laughed at you, but their laughter was a sign. Your humiliation was never the ending. It was the prophecy of your rising. Stay with me until the end, because what I'm about to reveal cannot be grasped in the middle. The final key is hidden in the last part of this message. It is the one truth most ignore, and it changes everything. This is more than encouragement. This is a decree. Heaven is about to turn mockery into mourning for those who laughed at you, and honor into elevation for you. What they thought was rejection was actually confirmation. What they saw as your weakness was heaven's evidence of your calling. Chosen one, listen closely. When they mocked you, they were not just speaking from themselves. They were echoing a deeper spiritual reality, one they could not even see. They became unwitting prophets, testifying about the glory they would one day be forced to watch unfold in your life. Think of Joseph. His brothers hated him because of his dreams. They mocked him, they stripped him of his robe, they threw him into a pit, they sold him for pieces of silver. They thought they were silencing his destiny, but in truth, they were confirming it. Genesis 50:20 says, "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, to bring about that many people should be kept alive." The betrayal was prophecy, the laughter was prophecy, the pit was prophecy. Chosen one, the mockery you endured was never a verdict against you. It was the announcement of what God placed inside you. The enemy only attacks what he fears. People only laugh at what they do not understand. Your uniqueness, your difference, your holy strangeness. It provoked their ridicule. But what they mocked was the very thing heaven will use to lift you higher. Pause for a moment. Think back to those nights when you felt the sting of rejection. Remember the room where you heard the whispers. Remember the family member who doubted you, the friend who turned away, the colleague who laughed. What they didn't know was that every mocking voice was adding weight to your testimony. Every insult was a brick in the throne God is building for you. It hurts, I know. The betrayal pierces deeper when it comes from those you loved. But beloved soul, pain was never the end. Pain was the proof. Their laughter was the echo of fear in the spirit realm. Fear of what you carry. Fear of what you are about to release. Joseph's pit became Pharaoh's palace. David's ridicule became Israel's victory. Jesus' cross became salvation for the world. So I tell you now, prophetically, the mockery was prophecy. Their laughter was a divine announcement. Every smirk, every cruel word, every moment you were made the joke in the story. It was the script heaven wrote to elevate you. And this is why you must not despise what happened. Do not let bitterness poison the well of your heart. Do not let anger steal your focus. Forgive them, release them, because the very stage they mocked you on is the one where God will seat you in honor. Chosen one, you are walking into a season where what was hidden will be revealed, and those who once laughed will have no choice but to watch in silence, because God himself will vindicate you, not through arguments, not through proving yourself, but through the undeniable manifestation of His glory upon you. Think of this. A seed must be buried before it rises. When the seed is underground, it looks like it's been forgotten. It looks like it has been discarded. But in the hidden place, the seed is growing roots. And soon what was buried bursts forth in power. That is you. They thought they buried you. They thought they covered you. But heaven was planting you. And now the same soil where you were hidden will break open to reveal your growth. Do you feel this in your spirit? Do you sense the shift in the atmosphere around your life? This is why you found this message. This is why your heart is trembling as you hear these words. Because you are the seed that cannot die. You are the dream that cannot be erased. You are the prophecy that mockery cannot silence. Let me speak this over you. The next time you remember their laughter, you will not feel pain. You will feel prophecy. You will see that every mocking word was proof you were chosen. And when God turns it around, those very voices will be silenced, not by your arguments, but by the undeniable hand of God on your life. But listen, this is only the beginning, because if mockery was prophecy, then the next stage is even deeper. The hiddenness, the wilderness, the place where you feel forgotten, where nothing makes sense. That season has its own mystery, its own purpose. And if you've been asking why you had to be hidden for so long, the answer will shake you. Stay with me, because next, we will step into the desert, and you will see why your isolation was not rejection, but God's protection. You thought you were forgotten, but you were hidden, and there is a difference. Chosen soul, when the desert came, when the silence grew heavy, when doors refused to open, it was not God abandoning you. It was God sheltering you. It was heaven pressing pause, so the world would not consume what was still in formation inside you. The desert is not punishment. The desert is protection. The desert is preparation. Think of Moses, raised in the palace of Egypt, strong in power, fierce in confidence. Yet God sent him into the wilderness for 40 years. Why? Because the palace taught him strategy, but only the desert could teach him humility. The palace taught him leadership, but only the desert could teach him dependence. The palace trained his body, but the desert trained his spirit. Exodus chapter 3 tells us that in that lonely place, in that forgotten wilderness, Moses encountered the fire of God in a burning bush. A moment of glory that shifted history forever. It did not happen in Pharaoh's palace. It did not happen on the throne. It happened in the silence of the desert. And so it has been with you, every season where you felt isolated, every time you asked, "Why is no one seeing me? Why is no one hearing me? Why am I overlooked again and again?" The desert was your burning bush. The silence was the classroom of God. Chosen one. The desert stripped away distractions. The desert exposed the voices you were never meant to trust. The desert taught you to survive on manna you could not explain, on streams of water you did not dig. You learned to hear the whisper of God because no other voice was left. Pause. Breathe this in. The desert was not empty. It was full of revelation. You learned patience. You learned endurance. You learned how to see the invisible and hold on to promises no one else believed. Do you see it now? The desert did not weaken you. It made you dangerous. Because those who come out of the wilderness are unshakable. They no longer live for applause. They no longer crave the validation of men. They walk with the authority of heaven itself. This is why your enemies cannot understand you. They think you are fragile because you are quiet. They think you are weak because you are hidden. But hidden things grow stronger. Hidden things grow sharper. Hidden things are reserved for appointed times. Isaiah 49:2 says, "He made me into a polished arrow and concealed me in his quiver." That is you, an arrow hidden in the hand of God, not because you were rejected, but because you were preserved for a precise moment. And when the appointed time comes, heaven will release you, and nothing will stop the flight of what God has sent forth. Think of this. A sword is not displayed while it is still being forged. It remains in fire, hammered, pressed, sharpened, until the Maker decides it is ready. Only then is it revealed. Only then is it lifted. Your wilderness was your forge. The hammer was heavy. The fire was intense. The waiting was unbearable. But every strike, every heat, every delay was fashioning you into a weapon that no enemy can withstand. And here is the beauty. Those who laughed at you never saw this part. They only saw the waiting. They thought your silence was weakness. They mistook your desert for defeat. But when the arrow is released, when the sword shines, when the desert-trained warrior steps into destiny, the same people who mocked will be forced to confess, surely the hand of God was upon them. Chosen one, let me ask you, do you remember the loneliness, the silence that almost broke you? The days you begged God for just one sign? Those moments were not wasted. They are the foundation of the strength you now carry. Even Jesus was led into the wilderness. Before the miracles, before the teaching, before the cross, the desert was the proving ground. And when he emerged, he carried power the world had never seen. So hear this clearly. You are about to emerge. The wilderness season is shifting. The same God who met Moses in fire will meet you in power. The same God who trained David in secret fields will now place him before nations. The same God who preserved you in silence is about to release you into visibility. But there is something you must understand. The desert was not the end. It was the bridge. And what lies beyond the desert is even more intense. Because after the hiddenness comes the fire, the refining, the season where everything you have carried is tested by flame. And you may be asking, why fire? Why more trials? Haven't I endured enough already? The answer will surprise you. The fire is not meant to destroy you. The fire is meant to reveal you. Stay close, because next, we will step into the flames, and you will see why your burning seasons were not your destruction, but your unveiling. The fire came, and you thought it was punishment, but it was revelation. Chosen one, the fire is not your enemy. The fire is your unveiling. The fire strips away illusions. The fire removes what is false, so only what is eternal remains. When you felt everything shaking, when relationships burned to ashes, when finances crumbled, when health or hope seemed to be tested beyond measure, that was not the fire destroying you. That was the fire exposing you. Think of gold. Raw gold looks ordinary, covered in dirt, mixed with stone. But when placed in the furnace, the impurities melt away. What remains is brilliance, value, glory. That is what God was doing with you. He placed you in the furnace of trial, not to consume you, but to refine you. Isaiah 48:10 declares, "Behold, I have refined you, but not as silver. I have tested you in the furnace of affliction." Your furnace was not random. Your fire was not meaningless. It was a holy forge. Chosen one, the fire revealed the truth of who you are. People saw you break, but God saw you purified. They saw loss, but heaven saw unveiling. The fire showed that beneath the layers of pain, beneath the ashes of disappointment, you carry a light that cannot be extinguished. That's why you feel lighter today, even though you still carry scars. Because the fire burned away what was never meant to stay, and what remains is unshakable. Chosen one, let me ask you, do you remember those nights when you whispered, "God, I can't take any more"? And yet, here you are, breathing, listening, standing in the ashes, but stronger than before. You didn't survive by accident. You survived because you are fireproof in Christ. Isaiah 43:2 promises, "When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. The flames will not set you ablaze." That is your testimony. You went through the fire, but the fire could not consume you. Instead, it revealed the fourth man in the flames, Jesus himself, standing beside you. Now hear this clearly. The fire was public. People watched. They saw the collapse. They saw the tears. They saw the failures. And some even laughed. But what they didn't see was what heaven saw, that in the middle of the flames, a warrior was being forged. A voice was being anointed. A chosen vessel was being purified for a mission greater than you imagined. The fire of exposure is not just about your pain, it's about your testimony. Your story is no longer theory, it is fire-tested. And that means when you speak, chains will break. When you pray, atmospheres will shift. Because the fire gave weight to your words. Do you feel that? This is why people will no longer be able to ignore you. This is why your presence unsettles rooms. Because fire leaves a fragrance. Those who have been through it carry a glow that cannot be faked. Your glow is your evidence. But the story does not end here. Because after the fire comes vindication. The season where God Himself raises His voice on your behalf. Where He prepares a table before you in the presence of those who mocked. Chosen one, the fire has revealed you. And now heaven is ready to speak for you. No arguments needed. No explanations required. When God vindicates, silence falls on every mocking tongue. But are you ready for that moment? Are you ready to see the shift from fire to favor? Because what comes next will not just prove your enemies wrong. It will prove your destiny right. Stay with me. Because next, we will step into the season of vindication. And you will see why the voice of God is stronger than the laughter of men. You have tried to explain yourself. You have tried to prove your heart. You have tried to make them understand, but no matter what you said, they twisted your words. No matter what you did, they overlooked your effort. Chosen one, hear this truth. Vindication does not come by argument. Vindication does not come by debate. Vindication does not come by your strength. Vindication comes when God Himself raises His voice on your behalf. Psalm 23:5 declares, He prepares a table before me in the presence of my enemies. He anoints my head with oil, my cup overflows. Notice this, it is not you setting the table. It is not you calling the guests. It is God preparing the banquet. And He makes sure that those who mocked are present to witness the feast. That is vindication, not revenge, not pride, but divine reversal, where heaven's hand reveals what your words could not. Think of David. When he stood before Goliath, he was mocked. His brothers doubted him. Saul questioned him. The giant ridiculed him. He was too young, too small, too unqualified in their eyes. But when the stone left his sling and the giant fell, no one could deny the hand of God upon him. The victory spoke louder than any argument. Chosen one, this is your season of David moments. The very things people used to laugh at, your size, your lack, your weakness, will become the very things God uses to silence their voices. Vindication will not come through explanations. It will come through demonstration, the demonstration of God's power in your life. Listen, when God vindicates, you don't need to fight. You don't need to clap back. You don't need to prove a thing. Your silence will be your strength, because heaven itself will shout your victory. Isaiah 54:17 says, No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you in judgment you shall condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their righteousness is from me. Do you see it? The tongues that rose against you will be silenced not by your arguments, but by God's decree. And the very heritage of being chosen means vindication belongs to you. Pause for a moment. Think back to the moments you were falsely accused. Think back to the seasons where your intentions were misunderstood. Think back to the times where people mocked you, even though your heart was pure. You carried that pain like a cloak, heavy and unfair. But soon, that cloak of shame will be exchanged for a robe of honor. Vindication is coming. The voice of God is about to thunder over your life. And when He speaks, no one will dare to contradict, because His authority is final. When heaven opens its mouth, earth must bow. This is why you cannot quit now. This is why you cannot let their words stop you. Because the story is not finished until God speaks, and His voice is the last word. Chosen one, let me give you a vision. Imagine a courtroom. Accusations are flying. Voices are loud. The enemy points at you, listing your failures, your weaknesses, your sins. The crowd laughs, thinking the verdict is already sealed. But then the judge stands. He raises his hand, and in one word, he silences the entire room. He declares you not guilty, vindicated, and chosen, and every mocking voice falls silent. That is what heaven is about to do in your life. The laughter of men will be swallowed by the roar of God. The accusations of the enemy will be erased by the blood of Christ. The ridicule will be overshadowed by undeniable glory. But hear this carefully. Vindication is not just for you. It is also for those who will witness it. When God lifts you, it will not just silence your enemies. It will awaken others who doubted themselves. Your vindication will become their inspiration. Your rising will become their confirmation that God is still alive, still moving, still defending His chosen ones. Chosen one, are you ready? Because what comes next goes even deeper. Vindication is powerful, but it is not the end. There is something greater, beyond the table, beyond the victory, beyond the silence of your enemies. It is the crown, the honor heaven places on the head of those who endured the mockery, the desert, the fire, and the waiting. And this crown is not just a symbol. It is your divine appointment, your visible anointing, your undeniable mark of being chosen. Stay close, because next, we will step into the mystery of the crown, and you will see why the very stone they rejected has become the cornerstone of destiny. They tried to strip you of dignity. They tried to bury your identity. They tried to reduce you to shame. But what they did not know is this: heaven has always reserved a crown for you. Chosen one, the crown is not given in times of ease. The crown is not placed on the head of the untested. The crown belongs to the one who endured the desert, the one who survived the fire, the one who stood still while heaven fought on their behalf. Hear this prophecy. The laughter of men was loud, but the crown of God is louder. The rejection of people cut deep, but the anointing of heaven heals deeper. What was once humiliation is about to be transformed into enthronement. Think of David again. When Samuel anointed him, he was not even invited to the gathering. He was left outside with the sheep, overlooked, forgotten. But the oil would not flow on any other head, because what is chosen cannot be stolen. What is destined cannot be denied. The crown waited for David, and the crown waits for you. 1 Peter 2:7 says, "The stone the builders rejected has become the chief cornerstone." Do you feel the weight of that verse? Rejection is not the end. It is the doorway to prominence. The very thing they mocked will be the very thing God exalts. The very person they dismissed will be the very one God establishes. Chosen soul, you were rejected not because you were worthless, but because you were priceless. You were overlooked not because you lacked value, but because your value was reserved for an appointed time. And that time is near. The oil is waiting. The crown is ready. And soon, heaven will place it upon you for all to see. But let me tell you the mystery of this crown. It is not just a symbol of honor. It is a mantle of responsibility. The crown carries weight. It means influence. It means leadership. It means walking in the fullness of who you are, even when the world does not understand. This is why the process was so long. This is why the pit, the desert, and the fire were necessary. Because crowns are not placed on unprepared heads. Oil is not poured on untested vessels. Glory is not entrusted to those who cannot carry it. Do you see it now? The pain prepared you for the crown. The betrayal built the character required to wear it. The silence forged the humility to hold it, and the fire shaped the strength to sustain it. Chosen one, you are not entering a season of mere survival. You are entering a season of coronation. The crown is your visible mark. It is heaven's declaration that you belong to the King and that you carry His authority. But here is something deeper. The crown is not only for you, it is for those who will be drawn to the light you now carry. Your elevation will be their confirmation. Your testimony will become their prophecy. When they see the crown on your life, they will realize that their own rejection is not final either. Think of Esther, a Jewish orphan, taken into exile, mocked, overlooked, hidden. But the crown found her head, and through her coronation, an entire nation was saved. Your crown is bigger than your story. It is tied to the destiny of others. It is tied to generations. This is why the enemy fought you so hard, because the crown is not just about you. It is about the ones attached to you. And now, hear the prophetic word. The crown of shame is being removed. The crown of mockery is being broken. And the crown of glory is being placed upon you, not tomorrow, not one day far away, but even now. Heaven is shifting the atmosphere around you. Chosen soul, can you feel it? The weight on your head, the oil dripping down, just like it did on David. The fresh authority in your words, the new strength in your spirit. This is not imagination, this is coronation. But there is one final secret you must know. The crown is not the ultimate destination. It is not the last revelation, because there is still a mystery hidden in all of this. Why did God allow them to laugh? Why did He allow the pit, the desert, the fire, and the waiting? Why let you suffer when He could have spared you? That answer, the one hidden from many, is the key that changes everything. It is the truth that will make sense of your entire journey, and without it, the story feels incomplete. Stay until the end, because next I will reveal the final mystery, the revelation of why God allowed the laughter, and why He turns it into your greatest honor. Chosen soul, we have walked together through the pit, the desert, the fire, the vindication, and the crown. But now, it is time for the final key, the truth hidden behind every tear. The reason God allowed the laughter, it was never punishment, it was preparation. It was never rejection, it was redirection. God let them laugh because their laughter became the evidence. Every mocking voice became a witness. Every insult became a record in heaven's courtroom. So when He raises you, no one will dare to deny His hand on your life. Do you see it now? Your survival was not random, it was intentional. Your humiliation was not the end, it was the stage for divine vindication. Romans 8:18 says, "The sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us." Chosen one, this is your portion. The suffering was real, but the glory is greater. The pain was deep, but the purpose is deeper still. Let me declare this over you. You are not a mistake. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are chosen. Every rejection was confirmation. Every desert was formation. Every fire was purification. Every mockery was prophecy. And now every crown is manifestation. Place your hand over your heart. Whisper this aloud. I am chosen. I am vindicated. No laughter, no curse, no weapon can silence the destiny of God in me. What was meant for evil will become my testimony. What was meant to break me will build me. I walk in divine authority. I walk in divine identity. I walk crowned, anointed, and chosen. Chosen one, do not leave this message as you came. Mark this moment. Seal it in faith. If this word resonated with your spirit, like this message now, subscribe, so you remain aligned with the flow of revelation heaven is pouring here. And declare it in the comments. 777, God is vindicating me. Type it not as routine, but as an act of alignment, as a public decree that you believe heaven is shifting your story. And share this message with another soul who needs to be reminded that mockery is not the end. Because your testimony is not just for you. It is for every life tied to your destiny. The laughter of men is temporary. The vindication of God is eternal. Walk now in peace, in strength, and in holy boldness, because your time has come. The crown is already on your head, and heaven's voice is louder than their laughter.